bringing an audience of what we call pre-sales influencers. So these are designers, architects, cabinet planners, those that have people that are putting projects together. And I would say for outdoor, maybe a hardscape planner as well. They're putting together these projects. They're giving advice to customers, and customers are taking their expertise and bringing it into the showrooms with them. So my first question for you is, what's one way that induction hardware is going to make life a little easier for these designers and planners in these early stages of the process?
Well, this is great. I appreciate this demographic because this is one of the core reasons why we wanted to really push induction indoors. And the main reason for that is you get markets like California and New York where new builds can't even have gas, right? And so you're talking about the future of cooking. Like this isn't just something that is better performing. It looks better. It works better. It's not toxic. Making your air toxic. It's way safer for. I mean, there's just all these benefits to it. It's actually a mandate by our government. So, even if it wasn't a mandate, I would still be pushing this technology, but it is a mandate. So these, future thinking designers that are building houses and designing spaces, I believe, the vast majority are going to be around induction. So we have built our product suite for you specifically. And we want to be able to have those solutions where it's like, hey, this is going to be the same price point as an ultra premium range, but now it's an induction range, and I don't have to worry about code. And this works for all these markets. And actually, like, oh, it's way better than the gas range. It beats it in every demographic, right? And then it's also way safer. It's way more energy efficient. No particulates in the air. Your kids can't accidentally turn on gas. Anthony, I know you know this number, but it blew me away, and I didn't know this until I started, doing some marketing materials with our team. And the vast majority of structure fires in the United States and the world are caused by using gas indoors. Like
Did
they're
not know.
caused, they're directly linked to gas indoors. I know it blew my mind.
Right.
You start thinking about, okay, if we transition this to this new technology, which is better for cooking, better performing, actually the societal impact on the cost of fires, the structure fires, we can mitigate drastically, have a major impact. And one of those freakonomics things where it's like you don't know that you're solving this problem
Right.
until it's solved. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I don't know if that's relevant, but I wanted to plug that.
It certainly is, because these folks are helping homeowners make major decisions around what they're going to be doing in their house and how their house is going to function. So it's definitely huge. Now, we've talked a lot about the functionality of induction and induction hardware, but can you talk a little about the aesthetics? That's definitely a big box to check for designers when they're putting together
Yeah.
the aesthetics of a kitchen. How's your company
Yes.
addressed the aesthetics of your appliances?
Yeah, so we really are focusing on two finishes, and we're going to do two finishes with every product that we make. We have that professional 304 stainless, and everything we make is 304 stainless because that's the best, right? Something that's really important to us is not making appliances that get aged over time. Not just from a longevity, functionality perspective, but just like a look. I'm seeing some stuff in trends that's like you have some lime green, reminds me of some 1970s kitchens that I've torn out in my own houses. Like I'm just not sure those are long. I mean, they're beautiful if you like it, right? And there's all these, you see in the industry, everyone is changing the hot knobs, changing the handles, and we'll probably do some of those little things for customers that want it. But I believe in stainless and I believe in black stainless. And I'm seeing black stainless getting taken out of a lot of catalogs right now, and brands not leaning into it. We're going to lean really heavily into it. So we kind of have this black stainless, which is like the modern vibe, and then we have the classic, the 304 stainless. So those are going to be our two finishes moving forward, and I think that that's going to really make some kitchens look great that last. Like your kitchen, you might change, remodel it 5 or 6 times, but your appliances will stay the same. And you're going to be designing them around your appliances. It's kind of like that focal piece. So we want to just make sure that we're making things like, how Apple makes things. So it's like, this is going to look really professional, really good, really, really like well built for a long time. And we've taken some design cues from Miele, we've taken some design cues from, I think, Fisher Paykel does a really good job in terms of design. And we've kind of added our own, style to that, but we want something that just works in every kitchen that doesn't get in the way, and you can design around it. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's how we think about styles and design.
It does. I think that's great. And then something else for this audience, and we haven't quite touched on it yet, is a sticky point, especially for the cabinet planners, is ventilation. They have to be really concerned about
Yeah.
ventilation when they're planning around a kitchen. How has that altered their thought process when they go with induction?
So, which, this is actually a really good question that I've been looking into. I'm not sure you actually need ventilation with induction in the same way you do with gas. That's a more of a building code thing. Don't hold me to that. We actually make ventilation, and we're one of the first manufacturers to make direct current range hoods, and we're so proud of our range hoods. Actually, the ventilation side is something we're really excited about because we believe we've really innovated this space. We make 2,000 CFM range hoods that are under $2,000, and they are whisper quiet. And we have functions in these range hoods that I was so excited about. So there's this fresh air function that like it's like because it's variable with DC motors, you can have variable speed, and it's way quieter than every other range hood you're using, which is AC, which is a mechanical. So you can have we have this mode that brings in fresh air slowly. So it's like like 50 CFM or under. You can't hear it that it's on. Like you just literally you can hear a pin drop and not hear that that's motor's on. It's whisper quiet. And it's what we call fresh air mode. So what it's doing is actually bringing in very few houses are completely tight. So it's bringing fresh air through those seams or windows or whatever, and it's actually recirculating the air in your home. And something that's happened with COVID is people have gotten all of these air purifiers in their houses. And a byproduct of that is they see when they have the sensors. And so like all this particulate in the air, they start going off. And so people still have these things that they bought a few years ago. And what's wild is they're seeing how toxic it is. When you turn your oven on or your range, all those things go off. I've had all these customers reach out to me personally and be like, we got to get rid of our gas. Our air purifier goes off every time we turn our range on. And so induction, you don't have any of that. You don't have any particulates unless it's coming off of the food. And, because our performance is so extreme, you can sear and burn food. So there is still particulates if you choose to scorch your stuff. So that's why we wanted to have a range hood solution also. But I think that this is one of the key selling points is the cleanliness of air and what we're doing to address it at Induction Hardware. And I'm super proud of that.
Really, really smart move. And I wanted to set you up for that answer because I've been on a lot of projects where it's 48 inch range, 60-inch range. And if that's a gas range, the ventilation requirements are heavy duty. Besides makeup air and everything like that, you need to pull a lot of air out of the room. And that really disturbs the design of the kitchen or the options that they have. Or in the planning stages, where's the ductwork going? And how are we getting out of the house? So there's all these answers. You go into induction, it leaves you can do the big hood if you want, but you don't have to. It gives you a ton of variety, a ton of options, and I think that's a really great way to go. So I'm excited that you can scratch that itch too. So I think these are great, and I love that also this audience, because this audience generally stays engaged with what's new, that you guys are going to be front of mind, that you're doing a whole lot in 2026, so they have a lot to glom on to. So I'm excited for that.